The silent passenger. I've been driving this cab for nearly a decade, but I've never experienced anything like this before. It started about 6 months ago on a quiet Tuesday night. I had just dropped off a passenger in a secluded neighborhood when I got a new ride request from a woman named Lillian. The location wasn't far, just a few blocks away. When I pulled up, she was already standing on the sidewalk under a flickering street lamp. She was dressed in a simple beige coat, her hair neatly pulled back, and she carried nothing but a small black purse. I greeted her with the usual, "Good evening." "Where to?" She slid into the back seat, her voice soft but clear. "Just drive. I'll tell you where to go." That wasn't uncommon. Some passengers liked to give directions on the go, and I didn't think much of it. She guided me through a series of turns, all within the same general area, until we ended up in front of an old apartment building. Without hesitation, she handed me a few bills, more than the fare, and stepped out without another word. It should have ended there, but it didn't. The next night, around the same time, I got another request. Same location, same name, and when I pulled up, there she was, standing under that same flickering street lamp, wearing the same beige coat. Again, she got in and directed me around the neighborhood before finally stopping at the same apartment building. The ride played out exactly as before. Same route, same silence, same generous tip. This happened every night for a full week. At first, I chalked it up to coincidence. Maybe she worked night shifts or had a routine. But then, on the 8th night, something changed. That night, I picked up another passenger before her, a businessman drunk and chatty. As I drove him to his hotel, I glanced in the rearview mirror. That's when I saw her, Lillian. She was sitting silently in the seat beside my passenger, her hands folded in her lap. But she hadn't booked this ride. She hadn't gotten in. She was just there. I nearly slammed on the brakes. When I looked back again, she was gone. I dropped off my passenger in a daze, barely listening to his slurred thanks. My hands were shaking. I told myself I was imagining things, that I was just exhausted. But when I checked my ride requests for the night, there it was. Lillian. Same location. Same time. Dread pooled in my stomach, but I accepted the request. When I arrived, she was already there, waiting under the street lamp like always. But this time, as she got in, I forced myself to glance at her reflection in the rearview mirror. There was nothing there. The seat was empty. And yet, I could hear the soft rustle of her coat as she settled in. My heart pounded as I gripped the steering wheel. I didn't ask her where to. I just started driving, my knuckles white on the wheel. I could feel her presence in the back seat, but every time I looked in the mirror, the seat was empty. That night, she didn't tip me. She just whispered one word before she got out. Help. I barely slept. The next day, I did some digging. I searched for any mention of a Lillian in the area, checking old news articles, missing person reports, anything. Then I found it. A woman named Lillian had lived in that same apartment building. She had gone missing over a year ago. Her last known whereabouts? A cab ride. My cab ride. My breath caught in my throat. I didn't remember picking her up that night, but as I read the details, the unease in my gut told me otherwise. The police had never solved her disappearance. There had been no leads, no suspects. And yet here she was, still calling for rides. That night I waited. I didn't pick up any other passengers. I just sat in my cab, watching the app, waiting for her request. At exactly the same time as always it came. I drove to the usual spot. The street lamp flickered. She was waiting. This time I didn't ask where to. I just started driving. But instead of following her usual route, I took a different one. As I drove past the outskirts of town, she whispered, "Yes." I kept going. I didn't know where I was headed, but something deep inside me did. The road grew darker, more secluded. And then, out of nowhere, she spoke again. "Stop." I slammed the brakes. I was in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by trees. Lillian's voice was softer now. "Here." I turned to look at her, really look at her. For the first time I could see her clearly. There was a sadness in her eyes, but also relief. She stepped out of the cab, her figure flickering like a dying light. And then, just like that, she was gone. The next night, I waited for her request. It never came. She never rode with me again. But sometimes, when I drive down that road, I swear I can still hear her whisper, "Thank you."